Hello everybody, it's Holy Joe Rock and Roll, May the 1st, 2017. Last week, the NASDAQ broke 6,000 for the first time ever. And if you remember, it broke 5,000 during the dot-com bubble in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then it crashed. And it took literally 15 years or more really to get back up to 5,000. The NASDAQ, typically an index with smaller companies, technology-driven companies primarily. But this last week, it broke 6,000 for the first time ever. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is still hovering over 20,000. Another record, it broke 21,000 since Trump has been elected. The markets are pretty strong. Overall, earnings are looking pretty good, or pretty good for a lot of these companies. And again, it just refutes the narrative that somehow a Trump presidency and America First policy would be detrimental to the U.S. economy, to the stock market. It's just the opposite. You know, Trump has said that we hold all the cards when it comes to trade because we are the biggest consumer and the biggest importer and the biggest loser if you want to look at trade imbalances versus every other country. So of course, since we're the ones buying people's stuff, if we stop buying their stuff, who is going to be impacted the most? They will be. Now sure, if you bring some jobs back to the US, some prices will go up, but who cares? How much cheap plastic crap do you need? And most of the stuff that most people would want on a, let's say, on an ongoing basis, say electronics and whatnot, you buy them once, or capital expenditures like a refrigerator, you buy them once every 3 to 5 years. So then the labor component of that is really pretty small when you consider that most things are being automated anyhow. Even in the factories in China, electronics it's all automated. So why couldn't you bring that same factory back to the US where it's automated and you're building circuit boards and chips and stuff like that? There's no reason why not. The only reason is prices. Wages have already been crushed in the US. The middle class has not seen a pay raise in 15 years. I've done a report where I think it was the New York Times said that since the recession, 35% of the people are poorer than they were 10 years ago. And that's probably true. I remember my last job in the US was probably a 30% reduction from my previous pay. And it was in Silicon Valley, where they're supposed to have such high wages, and I was surrounded by all these H-1B visa holders. They are definitely driving down wages, and I'm really happy that Trump is finally, hopefully, going to look into that, because there are so many Americans who have the skills, who can do these jobs with, a couple of weeks of training. If you've got a STEM degree and a couple of weeks of specialized training for whatever job you're trying to do, you can do the job, whether it's tech support, level 2, level 3, or even coding. And people who are native English speakers will be able to communicate better and probably write better code and better document their code. And you have just, there's a reason why a lot of these software projects fail. When you hire third world immigrants with poor English skills and a proclivity to authority where they don't, let's say, fight back or don't question authority so much as most Americans would. And what I mean by that is, let's say your boss says, we're going to do XYZ, and this is, I don't know, whether you do a waterfall project design or you do agile project design or a combination of the two. Usually it's agile combination, to be realistic, because no one should do pure waterfall, and no one can do pure agile and get stuff done, really. But anyhow, I digress. All the teams that I work with that were American, we produce the product, we finish it on time or on schedule. Anytime I used a foreign company to help me develop projects, software projects, it either came late or it was never finished. And that's a damn fact. That's a damn fact. Okay? So, I'm just saying, the market is strong. The economy is strong, even though they're saying that first quarter GDP growth was tepid. It's a transitional period, but as factories come back, as jobs come back, automotive jobs are coming back or staying. This is a major engine for the economy. These blue-collar, high-skilled blue-collar jobs, right, requires some skill. Now, some people can't handle blue-collar work because it's very repetitive, and maybe they have high IQs where they should be in more white-collar jobs or software development or some kind of technical or sales or marketing, whatever. But even those jobs don't necessarily pay a lot. Marketing jobs don't necessarily pay a lot. Sales jobs can pay a lot if you get a piece of the action, if there's no cap on your compensation based upon your sales performance. But all of these things coming together, it's going to make America great again. Now, do I want to move back to the U.S.? Unfortunately, I've established myself like an Alabama tick in Poland. I got a life here. I got a family here. I've already re-achieved the American dream here. It took 10 years, but I finally achieved it. So for me to uproot my family for a job in the U.S., it doesn't, obviously every man has his price, and if the price is right, it's possible, but there's really nothing, forcing me, pulling me to go back. I just, for my kids' sake, who are all dual nationals, not all of them, but most of them are dual nationals, I want America to be great again so that they have the opportunity to go back to the U.S. if they want to live and or work or whatever, and have opportunities there. And I think that being that they're not only bilingual but bi-national, they'll have a better opportunity than just a generic American or just say generic European. And that's all good. So it's a holiday today. Told you rock and roll. Wishing you a safe May Day, which used to be celebrated in the U.S. I remember when I was in kindergarten or nursery school, and we celebrated May Day parade with the pole and the costumes and the maypole, and you're going around the maypole singing songs. And then the next year they stopped it. And the reason for that is because May Day became a communist holiday, workers' day for under communism. And America sort of pulled away from it because obviously we're not communist. Well, at least not on paper. So, yeah. Anyway, listen, everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great holiday weekend and make it happen for the captain, because you're the captain.